Ethan Parker stood in his small studio apartment in Seattle, staring at the blank canvas that loomed before him. The morning light filtered through the large window, casting a soft glow that illuminated the scattered paint tubes and brushes strewn across the table. Despite the beauty of the day, a sense of unease gnawed at him. He had always dreamed of being a successful artist, but lately, self-doubt had crept in like an unwelcome guest. As he dipped his brush into a vibrant shade of blue, his mind wandered to his family. Ethan had married Sophie just over a year ago, and while their relationship blossomed with love and laughter, he often felt like an outsider in her world. Sophie had a son, Liam, who was only 9 years younger than Ethan. The age gap was negligible, but it created an invisible barrier that made Ethan question his role as a stepfather. Liam was a spirited young man with an adventurous streak. He had a knack for making friends easily and seemed to glide through life with an infectious enthusiasm that Ethan both admired and envied. Yet, Ethan often found himself struggling to connect with him. Their interactions felt awkward at times, filled with unspoken tension and uncertainty about how to bridge the gap between them. "Ethan, you home?" Sophie's voice echoed from the living room, breaking him from his reverie. He smiled at the sound of her voice. She always had a way of brightening his day. "Yeah, I'm here," he called back, setting the brush down and wiping his hands on a rag. He stepped out of the studio and into the living area where Sophie was arranging flowers in a vase. "Liam's coming over in a bit," she said, glancing up at him with a warm smile. "I thought we could have a little family lunch." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. He loved spending time with Sophie and Liam, but the thought of facing Liam made him anxious. What if they struggled to find common ground again? What if he said something wrong? As if sensing his unease, Sophie reached out and squeezed his hand. "It'll be fun. Just relax." "Right," Ethan replied with a half-hearted smile. "I'll try." A short while later, Liam arrived, bursting through the door with his usual energy. "Hey, what's up?" he greeted them enthusiastically. "Not much," Ethan replied, trying to match Liam's enthusiasm. "Just getting ready for lunch." Liam plopped down on the couch and grabbed a game controller from the coffee table. "You guys want to play?" "I've been working on my skills." Ethan exchanged glances with Sophie. They both knew Liam was exceptionally good at video games. "Sure, why not?" Ethan said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. As they settled into their game session, laughter filled the room. Liam's competitive spirit shone through as he teased Ethan mercilessly for his lack of skill. For the first time in a while, Ethan felt himself relax as he engaged in playful banter with Liam. "Come on, you can do better than that," Liam exclaimed after Ethan lost another round. Ethan chuckled nervously but felt a flicker of warmth in his chest. Maybe this wasn't so hard after all. After several rounds of gaming and lighthearted teasing, they moved to the kitchen to prepare lunch together. The atmosphere shifted slightly as they chopped vegetables and stirred sauces. There was an unspoken camaraderie forming between them. "Hey, Ethan," Liam said suddenly as he sliced through a cucumber. "Can I ask you something?" Ethan looked up from where he was stirring pasta sauce. "Sure. What's on your mind?" Liam hesitated for a moment before continuing. "What's it like being an artist? Like, do you ever feel pressure to create something amazing?" Ethan paused, surprised by the question. It was rare for Liam to open up about anything personal. "Honestly, yeah, all the time," he admitted. "Sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough or that I'll never create anything worthwhile." Liam nodded thoughtfully as if processing this information. "I get that," he said slowly. "Sometimes I feel lost too, like I don't know what I want to do with my life yet." Ethan sensed vulnerability in Liam's voice that resonated deeply within him. "It's okay not to have everything figured out," he reassured him gently. "Life is about exploring and finding what makes you happy." For a moment, their eyes met, an understanding passing between them that transcended words. The lunch they prepared turned out delicious, filled with laughter and stories shared over steaming plates of pasta and fresh salad. As they sat around the table enjoying their meal, Ethan felt a growing sense of connection with Liam that he hadn't experienced before. After lunch, they cleared the table together while Sophie washed dishes nearby. Ethan caught himself stealing glances at Liam. There was something about him that intrigued Ethan more than he could articulate, a spark of creativity mixed with youthful exuberance. Later that afternoon, as they lounged on the couch watching TV together, Ethan felt an inexplicable urge to reach out to Liam, to bridge whatever gap still lingered between them. "Hey," Ethan began hesitantly, "if you ever want to try painting or something, I'd love to show you some techniques." Liam turned towards him with genuine interest shining in his eyes. "Really? That would be awesome." Ethan smiled back at him, a genuine smile filled with hope for what lay ahead. Perhaps this was just the beginning of something beautiful between them. As evening fell over Seattle and shadows danced across their living room walls, Ethan felt lighter than he had in weeks, a sense of possibility blooming within him like spring flowers breaking through winter's frost. The day had unfolded in unexpected ways, full of laughter, connection, and newfound understanding, and as he glanced at Liam once more, Ethan couldn't shake off the feeling that this was only the start of their journey together. The next day dawned with a thick blanket of clouds hanging over Seattle, the kind of day that made the city feel cozy and intimate. Ethan Parker woke up to the sound of rain tapping gently against the window, a soothing rhythm that encouraged him to linger in bed just a little longer. He stretched out, feeling the warmth of the covers around him, but as thoughts of Liam and their budding friendship filled his mind, he knew he couldn't stay in bed forever. After a quick shower and a cup of strong coffee, Ethan headed to his studio. The rain outside created a perfect backdrop for creativity, and he felt inspired to paint. The canvas awaited him like an eager friend, ready to absorb his emotions and thoughts. He decided to work on a piece that reflected the connection he felt with Liam, a mix of colors that represented both their personalities. As he mixed vibrant hues on his palette, Ethan's phone buzzed with a message from Sophie. "Liam wants to come over today. He's excited about painting with you." The message brought a smile to his face. He had been hoping for this opportunity, but now that it was real, his heart raced with anticipation. A couple of hours later, there was a knock at the door. Ethan opened it to find Liam standing there, drenched from the rain but grinning widely. "Hey, I hope you're ready for some serious painting," he exclaimed, shaking off droplets like a dog. "Absolutely. Come in and dry off," Ethan replied, stepping aside to let Liam in. The warmth of the apartment enveloped them both as they entered. Liam peeled off his wet jacket and hung it by the door before heading straight to the studio. "This place is awesome. I love how colorful it is," he said, taking in the splashes of paint on the walls and the canvases leaning against each other. "Thanks. I've been working on a few pieces," Ethan said, feeling proud as he gestured toward his work. "But today is all about you." Liam's eyes sparkled with excitement as he picked up a brush and examined it closely. "So, what's the plan? Are we going abstract or realistic?" Ethan chuckled at Liam's enthusiasm. "How about we start with something abstract? It'll give us more freedom to experiment." They set up their easels side by side, and Ethan guided Liam through the basics of color mixing and brush techniques. As they painted, laughter filled the room, blending seamlessly with the sound of rain outside. Liam was surprisingly adept at wielding the brush, his strokes were bold and confident. "Look at this. I'm basically a pro already," Liam joked as he stepped back to admire his work, a chaotic blend of colors that somehow came together beautifully. "You definitely have an eye for it," Ethan replied, genuinely impressed. "Art is all about expressing yourself. There are no rules." As they continued painting, their conversation flowed effortlessly from one topic to another: school, dreams for the future, and even their favorite movies. Ethan found himself opening up more than he had anticipated. It felt natural to share his thoughts and experiences with Liam. "Do you ever think about what you want to do after high school?" Ethan asked casually as he added splashes of yellow to his canvas. Liam paused for a moment, contemplating. "Honestly, not really. I mean, I love art and music, but I'm not sure if I want to pursue them seriously," he admitted, a hint of uncertainty creeping into his voice. Ethan nodded thoughtfully. "That's okay. It's normal not to have everything figured out right away. Sometimes exploring different paths can lead you to unexpected places." Liam looked at Ethan with curiosity in his eyes. "What about you? Did you always know you wanted to be an artist?" Ethan smiled wistfully as memories flooded back, his childhood filled with crayons and sketchbooks, drawing everything from superheroes to landscapes. "Not really. I went through phases where I wanted to be different things, an astronaut, a musician, but art always called me back." The conversation took on a deeper tone as they discussed their fears and aspirations. In those moments of vulnerability, Ethan felt an undeniable bond forming between them, a connection that transcended age or circumstance. After several hours of painting and chatting, they stepped back from their canvases to admire their work. Each piece was unique yet reflected their shared experience, a beautiful representation of their day together. "Wow, we actually made some pretty cool stuff," Liam said proudly, wiping paint from his hands onto an old rag. Ethan nodded in agreement. "I think we did. You have talent, don't underestimate yourself." Just then, Sophie walked into the studio, her eyes widening at the sight before her, a vibrant explosion of colors covering both canvases and two very happy artists standing proudly beside them. "What happened here?" she asked playfully, hands on her hips. "Just a little painting session," Liam replied with exuberance. Sophie laughed as she surveyed their creations. "You both did an amazing job. I'm so proud of you too." As they cleaned up together, Ethan felt lighter than he had in days. The playful banter between him and Liam had transformed into something deeper, an understanding that made him feel more connected than ever before. After everything was tidied up, they decided to take a break from art and head out for some hot chocolate at a nearby cafe, a local favorite. Known for its rich flavors and cozy atmosphere, the cafe was bustling when they arrived. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with sweet pastries wafting through the air created an inviting ambiance. They settled into a corner booth by the window where raindrops danced against the glass. As they sipped their hot chocolates topped with whipped cream, laughter bubbled between them once more. They shared stories about embarrassing moments from school and favorite childhood memories that had them both in stitches. "I can't believe you thought wearing socks with sandals was cool," Liam teased after Ethan recounted a particularly cringe-worthy fashion choice from his teenage years. "Hey, it was a trend back then," Ethan protested playfully before bursting into laughter himself. As they finished their drinks and prepared to leave, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him, grateful for this unexpected friendship that had blossomed so quickly between them. Walking back home under umbrellas amidst Seattle's drizzle felt almost magical, each step resonating with newfound camaraderie and connection. They chatted animatedly about plans for future art sessions while navigating puddles along the sidewalk. When they finally reached Ethan's apartment building, he turned to Liam with sincerity in his eyes. "Thanks for today, it meant a lot." Liam smiled back warmly, there was something unspoken hanging in the air between them, a promise of more shared moments ahead. "Let's do this again soon," Liam said before heading down the path towards home. Ethan watched him go until he disappeared around the corner before stepping inside his apartment once more. The rain continued its gentle serenade outside as he reflected on how much had changed in just one day. The barriers that once felt insurmountable were now crumbling away under layers of laughter and understanding. He couldn't shake off the feeling that this was just the beginning, a new chapter unfolding in ways he never expected. The following weekend brought with it a burst of sunshine that broke through the usual Seattle clouds, casting a warm glow over the city. Ethan Parker awoke to the sound of birds chirping outside his window, and for the first time in weeks, he felt a sense of excitement bubbling within him. Today was the day he had planned to take Liam to an art workshop, a chance for them to explore their creativity together in a more structured environment. After a quick breakfast, Ethan prepared his art supplies, making sure he had everything they would need: canvases, brushes, and an array of paints. He felt a thrill at the thought of sharing this experience with Liam, who had shown such enthusiasm for painting during their last session. As he gathered his things, Ethan's phone buzzed with a message from Sophie. "Liam is on his way. He's super excited." The message made Ethan grin. It was heartwarming to see Liam so eager about art. When Liam arrived, he was practically bouncing on his feet. "Hey, I can't believe we're finally going to this workshop." He was dressed casually in a graphic tee and jeans, looking effortlessly cool. "Me neither. I think it's going to be a lot of fun," Ethan replied, feeling the energy in the air. They grabbed their supplies and headed out into the bright morning. The art studio was located in a vibrant part of Seattle, filled with eclectic shops and cafes. As they walked down the street, Ethan couldn't help but notice how comfortable he felt around Liam. Their conversations flowed easily, filled with laughter and shared stories that made the world around them fade away. Upon arriving at the studio, they were greeted by the warm scent of paint and turpentine mingling in the air. The space was filled with natural light streaming through large windows, illuminating various artworks displayed on the walls. It felt like stepping into a creative sanctuary. "Welcome. I'm so glad you both could make it," said Mia, the workshop instructor, a lively woman with bright red hair and an infectious smile. She introduced herself and explained what they would be doing that day, exploring abstract painting techniques using mixed media. Ethan felt a rush of inspiration as Mia demonstrated different techniques. She encouraged everyone to let go of their inhibitions and create without fear of judgment. Art is about expression. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, they often lead to beautiful discoveries, she said passionately. Liam's eyes sparkled with excitement as he watched Mia demonstrate how to layer colors and textures on canvas. "This is going to be epic," he whispered to Ethan, who nodded in agreement. They moved to their stations, each setting up their canvases side by side. Ethan felt a sense of camaraderie as they began to experiment with colors and materials, acrylics mixed with pastels and even some collage elements. The atmosphere buzzed with creativity as laughter and chatter filled the room. As they painted, Ethan stole glances at Liam, who was completely absorbed in his work. His brow furrowed in concentration as he layered colors onto his canvas, creating something vibrant and chaotic that reflected his personality perfectly. Ethan felt a swell of pride watching him. This was Liam's world coming alive through art. "Hey, check this out," Liam called out after a while, stepping back from his canvas to reveal an explosion of colors that seemed to dance across the surface. "What do you think?" Ethan approached, genuinely impressed. "That's amazing. You've really captured energy here." He could see Liam's passion shining through every brushstroke. "Thanks, but I think yours is even better," Liam replied enthusiastically as he admired Ethan's work, a swirling mix of blues and yellows that evoked feelings of warmth and hope. They continued to encourage each other throughout the workshop, sharing tips and ideas while losing themselves in the creative process. Time seemed to slip away as they painted side by side, surrounded by fellow artists who were equally immersed in their own projects. At one point during a break, Mia gathered everyone around for a group discussion about their works in progress. She encouraged each participant to share their thoughts behind their creations. Ethan felt nervous when it was his turn but took a deep breath and spoke from the heart. "I wanted my piece to reflect hope and connection," he explained, gesturing toward his canvas. "I've been exploring what it means to find beauty in unexpected places." Liam chimed in next, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "Mine is about energy. It's like capturing all these feelings I have inside, I just let them explode onto the canvas." The group responded with applause and encouraging comments that made both Ethan and Liam beam with pride. In that moment, surrounded by supportive peers who understood their passion for art, Ethan felt more confident than ever before. As the workshop came to an end, Mia encouraged everyone to take their pieces home and continue developing them further. "Art is an ongoing journey, keep exploring," she said before sending them off with smiles. Walking back through the sunlit streets of Seattle after the workshop felt exhilarating. They chatted excitedly about what they had learned and how much fun they had experienced together. "I can't believe how much I enjoyed that," Liam exclaimed as they strolled along the waterfront where boats bobbed gently on the water. "Me too. We should definitely do this more often," Ethan replied enthusiastically. As they reached a small park overlooking Puget Sound, they decided to take a break on one of the benches. The view was breathtaking, the water glistening under the sun while seagulls soared overhead. "Do you ever think about what you want your art to say?" Liam asked suddenly, gazing out at the horizon thoughtfully. Ethan considered this for a moment before responding. "I think I want my art to inspire others, to show them that it's okay to embrace who you are," he said earnestly. "What about you?" Liam looked contemplative for a moment before answering. "I want my art to capture feelings, like joy or confusion or even love." There was an intensity in his gaze that made Ethan's heart race slightly. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, simply enjoying each other's presence amidst nature's beauty surrounding them. It was moments like these that deepened their bond, a connection that felt both thrilling and terrifying at once. As dusk began settling over Seattle, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Ethan turned toward Liam with sincerity shining in his eyes. "I'm really glad we're doing this together." Liam met his gaze steadily, there was something unspoken lingering between them, a tension that crackled like electricity in the air. "Me too," he replied softly. In that moment, amidst laughter and shared dreams under Seattle's twilight sky, Ethan realized how much this friendship meant to him, and perhaps something deeper was beginning to blossom between them as well. The following week was a whirlwind of emotions for Ethan Parker. As he moved through his daily routine, he found himself replaying moments from the art workshop with Liam over and over in his mind. Their conversations, the laughter they shared, and the way Liam's eyes sparkled with excitement whenever they discussed art, it all lingered with an intensity that left Ethan both exhilarated and confused. Sophie noticed the change in Ethan. "You seem different lately," she remarked one evening as they sat on the couch together, watching a movie. "More alive, I guess." Ethan smiled, grateful for her observation but unsure how to articulate what was happening. "I've just been spending more time with Liam," he replied casually, trying to keep his tone light. "We've been painting together." Sophie nodded, her expression warm and encouraging. "That's great. I'm glad you two are bonding. He really looks up to you." Those words echoed in Ethan's mind long after their conversation ended. Did Liam really look up to him? The thought sent a rush of warmth through him, but it also deepened the confusion swirling in his heart. Later that week, Ethan received a text from Liam. "Hey. Can we talk? I need some advice." The message sent a jolt of curiosity through him. What could Liam possibly want to discuss? They arranged to meet at a nearby cafe the following afternoon. As Ethan entered the cozy establishment, he spotted Liam sitting at a corner table, fiddling with his phone. He looked up and smiled when he saw Ethan approach. "Hey, thanks for coming," Liam said, his voice a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Ethan asked as he settled into the chair across from him. Liam took a deep breath, clearly gathering his thoughts. "So, I've been thinking a lot about my future lately, like what I want to do after high school," he began, his brow furrowing slightly. Ethan nodded encouragingly. "That's a big decision. What are you considering?" "I love art and music, but I'm not sure if I should pursue them seriously," Liam admitted, glancing around as if seeking reassurance from the bustling cafe atmosphere. "Everyone keeps telling me to choose something practical." Ethan felt a surge of empathy for Liam. He remembered grappling with similar pressures when he was younger. "It's tough when people have expectations for you," he said gently. "But at the end of the day, you have to follow your passion." Liam looked down at his hands, fidgeting with a napkin. "I know, but what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" Ethan leaned forward slightly, wanting to convey sincerity and support. "You won't know unless you try," he said firmly. "Every artist has faced rejection and doubt at some point. It's part of the journey." Liam met Ethan's gaze, his eyes searching for something, perhaps reassurance or understanding. "Do you ever feel like that?" he asked quietly. "Absolutely," Ethan replied honestly. "Even now, I still have days where I question my abilities or wonder if my work matters." The conversation hung in the air between them like an unspoken bond, a shared understanding of vulnerability that connected them on a deeper level. "Thanks for listening," Liam said finally, relief washing over his features. "I just needed someone who gets it." "Anytime," Ethan replied with a smile that felt genuine and warm. After their conversation shifted back to lighter topics, favorite movies and music, they finished their drinks and decided to take a stroll around the neighborhood. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over everything and creating an almost magical atmosphere. As they walked side by side, Ethan couldn't shake off the feeling that this moment was significant, something more than just two friends hanging out. There was an undeniable chemistry between them that had been building since their first painting session. Suddenly, Liam stopped walking and turned to face Ethan directly. "Can I ask you something else?" His voice was serious now. "Of course," Ethan replied, sensing the weight behind Liam's words. "Do you ever think about us?" Liam asked hesitantly, his cheeks flushing slightly as he spoke. Ethan's heart raced at the question. It felt like time stood still for a moment as he processed what Liam had just said. Did he mean their friendship? Or was there something deeper lurking beneath the surface? Ethan began but faltered, unsure how to express what he felt without risking everything they had built together. Liam continued before Ethan could gather his thoughts. "I know there's an age difference between us and that you're my stepdad's partner, but I can't help how I feel." His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. The honesty in Liam's words struck Ethan like lightning. It ignited feelings within him that had been simmering beneath the surface since their first encounter. He took a deep breath before responding carefully. "I've been feeling something too," Ethan admitted slowly, searching Liam's eyes for any sign of hesitation or regret. But I didn't know if it was right to think about it. Relief washed over Liam's face as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Really? You feel it too? His voice was filled with hope. Yes, Ethan confirmed softly, feeling both exhilarated and terrified at the same time. They stood there for what felt like an eternity, two souls connected by vulnerability and honesty under Seattle's twilight sky. The air around them crackled with tension as they stepped closer together, everything else faded away until it was just the two of them. I don't want to rush anything, Liam said quietly, looking up at Ethan with sincerity in his eyes. But I think we should explore this, whatever this is. Ethan nodded slowly. He felt an overwhelming sense of rightness in that moment, a feeling that perhaps they were meant to discover this connection together. Let's take our time, Ethan replied softly, reaching out to touch Liam's arm gently, a gesture filled with warmth and promise. As they resumed walking side by side through the streets of Seattle illuminated by streetlights casting soft glows on their path ahead, both felt lighter than air, a new chapter unfolding before them filled with possibilities yet unknown. The following days after their heartfelt conversation felt like a whirlwind for Ethan Parker. The air was charged with an electric energy that made everything seem brighter and more vivid. Each time he saw Liam, his heart raced with anticipation, and every shared glance held a promise of something deeper. Yet, beneath the excitement lay a layer of uncertainty. The implications of their feelings weighed heavily on Ethan's mind. Sophie noticed the subtle changes in Ethan's demeanor. He was more animated, more engaged, but there was also a flicker of anxiety in his eyes that she couldn't quite place. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, she decided to address it. Ethan, you've been a bit distracted lately. Is everything okay? She asked gently, concern etched on her face. Ethan hesitated, unsure of how to explain the complexities of his emotions without causing confusion or hurt. Yeah, I'm fine. Just thinking about some things, he replied evasively. Sophie studied him for a moment before nodding, clearly sensing there was more beneath the surface. You know you can talk to me about anything, right? Of course, Ethan said, forcing a smile. I appreciate that. As the week progressed, Ethan and Liam continued to spend more time together, painting, exploring art galleries, and even attending local music shows. Each moment felt precious and exhilarating, yet Ethan remained cautious. He wanted to protect what they had built while also navigating the delicate balance of their relationship. One rainy Saturday afternoon, they decided to have an art day at home. Ethan set up their easels in the living room while Liam rummaged through his backpack for supplies. The sound of rain pattering against the window created a cozy atmosphere that felt perfect for creativity. Let's do something different today, Liam suggested as he pulled out some colorful pastels. How about we create a piece together? Like a collaboration. Ethan's heart swelled at the idea. I love that. What do you have in mind? Liam grinned mischievously. Let's start with a theme. How about dreams? Sounds perfect, Ethan agreed, feeling inspired by Liam's enthusiasm. They began working side by side, each contributing their own ideas to the canvas. As they layered colors and shapes together, laughter filled the room, playful banter punctuated by moments of focused silence as they concentrated on their creation. Okay, I'm going to add some stars here, Liam declared as he drew bright yellow dots across the top of the canvas. Stars. Nice touch. I'll add some clouds underneath them, Ethan suggested, feeling buoyed by Liam's energy. As they painted, their hands brushed against each other occasionally, a fleeting touch that sent shivers down Ethan's spine. He tried to focus on the artwork before them but found it increasingly difficult to ignore the chemistry building between them. After an hour of painting and chatting about their dreams, both artistic and personal, their canvas began to take shape into a vibrant representation of hope and aspiration. It felt like a reflection of their journey together thus far. Look at this. It's coming together beautifully, Liam exclaimed as he stepped back to admire their work. Ethan nodded in agreement but felt an overwhelming urge to address the unspoken tension that had been lingering between them since their last conversation. Liam, he started hesitantly, can we talk about us? Liam turned to face him, his expression shifting from playful excitement to serious attentiveness. Yeah, definitely. Ethan took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about last week, about exploring our feelings for each other. Liam's gaze was steady as he listened intently. And I want to explore it too, Ethan admitted, feeling both exhilarated and terrified by his own words. But I also worry about how it might affect everything else, our family dynamic and your relationship with Sophie. Liam nodded thoughtfully. I get that. It's complicated, but I really like being with you. His honesty struck Ethan deeply, it was refreshing yet terrifying. I like being with you too, Ethan replied softly, his heart racing at the admission. But I don't want to rush anything or put anyone in an uncomfortable position. I don't want that either, Liam said earnestly. But I think we should take it one step at a time, just see where this goes without overthinking it. Ethan felt relief wash over him, Liam's approach made sense. They could navigate this new territory together without losing sight of what mattered most, their friendship and connection. As they resumed painting in companionable silence, Ethan felt lighter than he had in days. The weight of uncertainty had lifted slightly, they were embarking on this journey together with open hearts. Later that evening, after finishing their collaborative piece, a vivid portrayal of dreams filled with stars and clouds, they decided to take a break and watch a movie together on the couch. As they settled in under a blanket with popcorn in hand, Ethan couldn't help but steal glances at Liam throughout the film. Each time their eyes met, something unspoken passed between them, a shared understanding that deepened their bond even further. When the credits rolled and silence enveloped them once more, Ethan turned toward Liam with sincerity in his voice. I'm really glad we're doing this together. Liam smiled back warmly, there was something comforting in his gaze that made Ethan feel safe, a promise that whatever happened next would be navigated together. Just then, Sophie entered the room carrying mugs of hot chocolate. Hey you two, how was your art day? She asked cheerfully. It was amazing. We created something really special, Liam replied enthusiastically as he accepted a mug from her. Ethan watched as Sophie beamed with pride, her support meant everything to him. He hoped she could sense how much joy Liam brought into his life without feeling threatened by it. As they chatted about their day over steaming mugs of cocoa, Ethan felt grateful for this moment, a moment filled with laughter and warmth shared among family. But deep down inside him lingered an awareness that this new chapter was just beginning, a chapter filled with exploration and discovery as he navigated uncharted waters alongside Liam. The sun shone brightly over Seattle as spring began to unfold, bringing with it a sense of renewal and hope. Ethan Parker awoke that Saturday morning with a feeling of anticipation bubbling within him. Today was the day he and Liam had planned to visit an art exhibit at a local gallery, an event they had both been looking forward to since their last conversation about exploring their feelings for one another. Ethan prepared himself carefully, choosing a simple yet stylish outfit that made him feel confident. As he finished getting ready, he caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror and took a deep breath. This day felt significant, it was more than just an outing, it was another step in their evolving relationship. When Liam arrived, he was dressed casually but effortlessly cool, with a bright smile that made Ethan's heart race. Hey, ready to go? Liam asked, his excitement infectious. Absolutely. Let's hit the road, Ethan replied, feeling a rush of energy as they headed out together. The gallery was located in a trendy part of town, surrounded by cafes and boutiques that buzzed with life. As they walked through the streets, their conversation flowed easily, discussing everything from their favorite artists to the latest music trends. Each shared laugh and playful jab only deepened their connection. Upon entering the gallery, they were greeted by an array of vibrant artworks that filled the space with color and creativity. Ethan felt a thrill as they wandered from piece to piece, discussing the emotions each artwork evoked. Liam's perspective on art fascinated him, he had an innate ability to see beyond the surface and articulate feelings that resonated deeply. Look at this one, Liam exclaimed, pointing to a large abstract painting filled with swirling colors. It's chaotic but beautiful, it feels like there's so much energy in it. Ethan nodded in agreement, appreciating how Liam connected with art on such a personal level. It's like the artist poured their soul into it, he said thoughtfully. As they continued exploring the gallery, Ethan felt a growing sense of warmth between them. Every brush of their hands as they pointed at different pieces sent tingles through him, igniting something deeper within his heart. Eventually, they found themselves in front of a stunning mural, a breathtaking depiction of two figures reaching toward each other amidst a backdrop of stars and galaxies. The imagery struck Ethan profoundly, it mirrored their own journey in so many ways. Wow, Liam breathed, taking in the mural's beauty. This is incredible. It really is, Ethan replied softly, feeling the weight of the moment settle around them. He turned to Liam, his heart pounding as he spoke. You know, I think this mural represents us in some way. Liam glanced at him curiously. What do you mean? I mean, we've both been reaching for something beautiful and real, Ethan explained, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his chest. And I want to keep exploring that with you. Liam's eyes widened slightly, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still between them. I want that too, he said quietly, sincerity radiating from him. They stood there for what felt like an eternity, two souls connected by unspoken understanding and shared dreams beneath the vibrant mural that echoed their journey together. As they left the gallery later that afternoon, Ethan felt lighter than air, a sense of clarity washing over him. They walked side by side along the waterfront, the sun casting golden rays across the water as boats drifted lazily by. Do you ever think about what comes next for us? Liam asked suddenly as they paused to take in the view. Ethan considered this question carefully, it was one he had pondered often since their relationship had shifted. I do, he admitted slowly. But I think we should take our time, focus on enjoying each moment together without rushing into anything. Liam nodded thoughtfully, his expression serious yet hopeful. I agree. I want us to build something real, something that lasts. Feeling emboldened by their conversation, Ethan reached out and took Liam's hand in his own, a simple gesture filled with meaning. Their fingers intertwined naturally as if they were always meant to fit together this way. As they continued walking hand in hand along the waterfront, laughter bubbled between them once more, a lightness that made everything feel right in the world. Later that evening, after grabbing dinner at a cozy restaurant nearby, they returned home feeling content and fulfilled. The warmth of their connection lingered like an embrace around them as they settled onto the couch together. I'm really glad we did this today, Ethan said softly as he leaned back against the cushions. Me too, Liam replied with a smile that lit up his face. I feel like we're on this amazing journey together. Ethan looked at him closely, there was something undeniably special about this moment, a sense of belonging that filled his heart with joy. Whatever happens next, I'm excited to find out. Liam's gaze held his steadily, there was no hesitation or doubt in his eyes, only unwavering support and understanding. As they sat there together under the soft glow of the lamplight, Ethan felt grateful for everything that had brought them here, the laughter shared, the vulnerabilities expressed, and most importantly, the bond that had formed between them through it all. In that cozy living room filled with warmth and love, Ethan knew this was just the beginning of their story, a story filled with exploration and discovery as they navigated life together hand in hand.